Stop looking so closely at your numbers. Outselling your competition is no longer the name of the game. The new big win goes to the brand that outcares. Be the brand who cares the most, and the numbers will naturally follow. The C.A.R.E effect, building brand loyalty. Hi everyone, this is Canon Wing with Inspiration to Millions. A recent study has shown a landslide, 90% of consumers believe that the internet allows them to make better purchasing decisions. The reason why? Because the internet makes it easier for consumers to compare all the brands to the very best brands. The same study found that 87% of consumers measure all brands against just a handful of the top brands, such as Amazon, Apple, or Starbucks. Today's consumer can decide never to set foot in your restaurant again because their waiter was not on par with the service, a level of an Amazon customer service agent when they ask that something gets sent back to the kitchen. Is your mind just blowing right there? Brands aren't just being held up against their direct competitors anymore. They're being compared to the very best brands in the world. What is it about these apparent model brands that transcend their influence beyond the realm of their particular industry? What are these top brands the very best at? The answer is showing they really care about their customers. Today's leading rocket fuel-powered names and branding don't seek to outsell, they seek to outcare. Today we're going to take a more in-depth peek into the reasons why this handful of rockstar brands are upholding the standard for all other brands in user experience. We're going to discuss how using the C.A.R.E effect can help your brand come out of nowhere, straight into the select circle of brands that are an inspiration to millions. You can remember the C.A.R.E effect as C.A.R.E. Connection, active listening, responsibility, and enthusiasm. The last time I traveled across the country, I landed 4 hours ahead of my time zone. Even though I have an early morning and it's already 2 a.m., I find myself unable to sleep, as you probably have found yourself many times. I remember a few purchases I needed shipped, so I popped onto Amazon. I'm an Amazon Prime account member, of course. I love it. 2-day free shipping, free and easy returns, streaming movies and music, free deliveries from most restaurants, and a wide range of unfiltered reviews from most products. I enjoy my Amazon Prime account almost daily. I'm an Amazon Prime brand loyalist for sure. I have a huge collection of cardboard. So I'm lying in bed wide awake at 2 a.m., laptop open and looking for my items. And I find each of them almost immediately. And after checking the reviews, I confidently place my orders. Oops, I accidentally sent them to my previous location and I have to change the shipping address. The number I need to call is already right there on my invoice. With the next 2 minutes, I'm on the phone with a live and lovely person who is wide awake and well on the way to solving my issue. Making returns on Amazon is so easy. I order clothes I'm not even sure I like just to try them on. Thanks to Amazon, I've all but forgotten the days of lengthening and deterring return process, expensive shipping costs, deciding it's probably easier just to go to the store or just give it to my sister or something. They're all but forgotten. That is until I encounter bad customer service somewhere else. That reminds me how much more difficult making purchases used to be, and which makes me wish I just used Amazon. Do you want an Amazon Prime account right now? I wouldn't be surprised. You probably already have one since word of mouth advertising is 50 times more effective than any other kind, right? Yesterday's satisfactory customer experience is today's terrible customer service. Today's consumers want brands that make their lives easier, not just from using the product, but from the entire experience provided by your brand. Expectations are now expected to be exceeded. Your ideal individuals are out there, and they want you to let them know you want them. you hear them and you understand them, not just today, but yesterday too, and tomorrow too. The gauntlet has been thrown down. It's time to put the C.A.R.E effect into action, for your brand is now. So let's jump right in. The first step in the C.A.R.E effect is connection. Making connections that build a brand community today is about showing that your brand has a deep understanding for what your community prefers and prioritizes. I always tell my clients, if it ain't got hard, go back to the start. You cannot be your ideal customer because your ideal customer needs you to help them reach their next level. This means it's going to take some patience and some reflection to understand what makes your ideal consumer's heart sing. What do they love to do with their free time? What are their priorities? What do they dream of becoming in the future? How can your brand help them get there? What is the secret wish pressing on their hearts and minds, the one they whisper to themselves but no one else? For your brand to connect with today's consumers in today's market, your brand must demonstrate not only an understanding, but a compassion for who the customer is today, as well as who they want to become tomorrow. Some simple guidelines to connecting with your ideal brand community include never talking down to them or making your community feel wrong for not already being who or where they want to be. This is a rookie mistake made by many brands. Attempting to create a need by shining a harsh light on where your ideal consumer is lacking your products or services, that's not going to make a connection that you want. That's not the emotional bond that you want. After an interaction, people don't typically remember exactly what was said. They remember how the interaction made them feel. Ask yourself what emotion you want your brand to inspire within your ideal brand community. Ask yourself what emotion they are buying from you. Choose an emotion that stirs the soul, stokes the flames, is bursting with possibility for a greater future. Name the emotion your ideal individual needs from your brand, and then refine your brand's voice around inspiring that emotion, rather than just selling them your great products or service. Connecting with your ideal individual is about meeting them at their level, letting them know they aren't alone, and then showing them that the path towards a greater future already lies at their feet. The power is already within them. You had the power all along, Dorothy. Make the purchase, then that purchase becomes the first step, and brand loyalty becomes the journey. Connection is about developing your brand's voice, but once you learn how to talk to your ideal individual, the next and most imperative step is to stop talking and start listening. That's the next step in the C.A.R.E effect, active listening. You're going to want to pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. Are you ready? I really want you to hear this because I want you to succeed. No matter what your business may be, all your income is going to come from listening. Yes, I mean all of it. No, there are no exceptions. The first step is connection because you have to open the forum to conversation. But once that forum opens, your ideal individual always has the floor. Yes, I mean always. There are no exceptions. This is a nuance many businesses miss, but every Fortune 100 company knows it all too well. There isn't a single name on that Fortune 100 list that doesn't understand the return value of pouring tremendous amounts of resources into active listening. When Starbucks was recently faced with a public relations crisis, they leapt straight into active listening mode. A bad judgment call was made by a Starbucks manager that escalated to the arrest of 2 African American men who weren't causing any disturbances, but were simply waiting for their friend to arrive before they made any purchases. The incident was posted on his social media, and the hashtag boycott Starbucks was trending within the hour. Did Starbucks start defending themselves, blaming the one manager for making a bad call? No. They opened the forum wide for their brand community and got down to listening. The CEO released a statement expressing a desire to meet personally with the 2 gentlemen who had been arrested so he could hear them out personally. The vice president flew out to Philadelphia, where the incident had occurred, to hear out the community that was most deeply affected. Starbucks went into emergency active listening mode, and the hashtag boycott Starbucks disappeared almost as quickly as it popped up. This is the power of active listening. When your brand community feels heard, they will stand by your brand even when the storm rolls through town. Active listening requires the listener to fully concentrate with the full, wholehearted intention, fully understanding what is being said and why it's being said. If it ain't got heart, go back to the start. Listen again and again and again until you find the heart of what they're saying. Respond to the heart of what they're expressing to you. And then listen some more. All of your income will come from listening. Many people listen only enough to form whatever thought they wanted to say next, barely listening at all. The way to respond to your ideal individual isn't with words, it's with actions that demonstrate your brand hears their deepest hopes, darkest fears, and even their wildest dreams, especially their wildest dreams. When your brand community feels heard, they feel understood, they feel safe, they feel at home with your brand. Home is where a person returns. Home is brand loyalty, and brand loyalty is your business plan. Next up, the R in C.A.R.E effect, responsibility. The decision to buy is always emotional. The decision to buy is made with the heart. When today's consumers make the choice to return to your brand community by purchasing your product or service, they are extending a heartfelt invitation to your brand and welcoming it into their home. You wouldn't accept an invitation to someone's home and figure, well, I got my foot in the door, so I'm good. Time to jump on their couch and kick their dog. No, because it's crazy. But also, as a brand, you want to be invited back into their home again and again. When a new customer makes a purchase, you have an automatic responsibility to honor the faith they've placed in your brand. A great brand is a promise kept. At the responsibility stage of the relationship, you've connected with them on an emotional level enough that they felt confident to place their trust and their money into your brand. You've listened enough to know what the promise is that your customers are expecting your brand to keep. Now it's your responsibility to uphold that promise every single day. Because the decision to join your brand community was made with the heart, so must the work be put into to keep their loyalty be a labor of love. Your brand should take responsibility for helping your customers grow. The moment a person becomes a customer, it isn't about you anymore. It's about them. It's always been about them. And if it ain't got heart, go back to the start. Finally, in the C.A.R.E effect, we have the E, enthusiasm, my favorite. The purchase is the beginning of a journey toward a greater future. The members of your brand community are now armed with your product or service to get them on their way, but they still must do the footwork to bring the greater future into being themselves. Go with them. Cheer them along. Let your brand community know you believe in them. Share stories of their successes, of those who came before them. Share the common challenges of those who walk beside them. Let them know they are not alone and be excited for their progress, even before they can see it for themselves. If it ain't got heart, go back to the start. Think of Samwise from The Lord of the Rings. The situation wasn't always going so hot for Frodo, right? Frodo wasn't always exactly at his best on this journey. He fumbled and he stumbled, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, all the way to Mordor. And yet, Samwise was there all along, beside him, every step of the way, never doubting in Frodo's ability to fulfill his destiny. Samwise believed in Frodo, and Frodo didn't believe in himself. And at the end, Frodo knew he had never made it without Samwise by his side. Today, consumers want to be inspired. They're dog-tired of negative news and at their wits' end with the compare and despair of social media. Enthusiastically embrace your brand's community for who they are and where they are today, because you have faith in who they can and will become tomorrow. My favorite, Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "Nothing great was ever accomplished without enthusiasm." Expect great things from your brand community and show your faith in them through unwavering enthusiasm. If ever on their journey your brand loyalists should stumble along the path of achieving that greater future promised, your brand's enthusiasm will be there to catch them. So let's recap the C.A.R.E effect. Connection, active listening, responsibility, and enthusiasm. The C.A.R.E effect is for the consumers you have already acquired, and it's about supporting them throughout their journey to become brand loyalists. No matter what your business may be, brand loyalty is your business plan. So let's assume if your ideal individuals have already bought from you, then they've already decided to feel a connection to your brand and move directly into action by focusing first on active listening, where all your income will come from. Identify some areas where you could implement active listening with your brand community today. Even if you don't have the experience of a Fortune 100 company, the rocket fuel for gaining experience is listening. There is gold in listening. Active listening requires the listener to fully concentrate with the wholehearted intention of fully understanding what is being said and why it's being said. Every time you hear an opinion from your ideal individual, you only have half the equation. You must ask why. Their why will reveal how you can create the brand messaging they most need to hear in order to grow with you, in order to become a brand loyalist. Okay, here's an example. If someone tells you their favorite moment is when they use your product, like say it's a microphone, and their favorite moment is when they use it on stage and you hear the crowd roar, screaming their name, you only know half of their favorite moment. Not enough to make more products that accomplish this moment for them and increase your income streams. Not enough to get a message to millions of people like them until you ask them their why. They might say, because my teacher said I'd amount to nothing. Or they might say, because as a person with impaired hearing, I can only decipher the guitar from the crowd. With your superior quality, I can't play without it. Or they might say, because when I hear the crowd roar, I know my Father is smiling on me from heaven. Or because I know I'm about to spray the crowd with water and the mic is going to perform even when doused. Your messaging will dramatically change if one of these responses is the most common one for your ideal individuals. Vastly varied. This is how active listening creates more income streams. When you actively listen, when you ask for that why, then you have the information that you need to create more products that deliver that same emotional promise every time. When you seek to outcare rather than outsell, the results will always be win-win for you and for your customer. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, the C.A.R.E effect can only be implemented with the heart. Take on the responsibility to enthusiastically care about your ideal individuals and get them to that greater future they are buying from you. Maintaining brand loyalty is a labor of love, so always remember to love what you do and love how you do it. Thanks for watching. Don't miss out on a single thing. Subscribe below. And here's something else I think you'll love.